My name is Emma Stone, and my mom swore she was too sick and too broke to come to my wedding. Then, 6 months later, she dropped $850,000 on my sister's second one. A year after that, she begged me, the family cold lawyer, to save her from the fallout. If you've been through something similar, share your experience in the comments. My mom told me she couldn't come to my wedding because her health was poor and she couldn't afford the travel. It was Tuesday night, and I was at my Charlotte apartment, fork in one hand, laptop open to a spreadsheet of vendor deposits. The planner had bolded a line in red: deposit due by 5 p.m. Friday. My phone buzzed across the table, and Linda popped up on video, lit by the glow of her TV. She sounded breathy on purpose. "Emma, my chest has been acting up. I can't get on a plane like that." A couple seconds passed before words came out. "Do you need me to book the ticket or just send the money?" Linda blinked hard, like I'd insulted her. "Money? No, I don't have it, and you shouldn't be spending it either." A pause, then the guilt slid in. "You know I'm not well. Why are you pushing me to fly when I could end up in the hospital?" The fork stopped halfway to my mouth. "I'm not pushing you. I just want you there." She waved a hand at her screen, dismissing me and my wedding in one motion. "Don't blow your budget on those ballroom things. It's ridiculous." Ballroom? I hadn't used that word once. My venue was a small brewery with lights. Linda didn't shop at breweries. She said she had an appointment at Atrium Health the next day. "What time? Which clinic?" Her eyes flicked off camera. "I don't know yet. They move things around." The screen went dark before I could finish a reply. An email pinged in the corner of my laptop. The planner again, same subject line, a reminder about Friday at 5. Linda had seen it. Her last text came through immediately. "Keep your receipts. You'll need them later." I clicked into my trash folder to delete old confirmations, and a subject line jumped out: shareholder update/transfer. It was from our family company's address. Before I could open it, the folder refreshed and the message vanished. "So I can bankroll an adult, but I can't buy her a seat," I said to my kitchen. Then I did the one thing Linda hated. I made it public. In the family group chat, I typed, "I've covered all travel costs. She just needs to show up." No answer from her. Instead, my Aunt Deborah replied, "Don't embarrass your mother like this." My thumbs hovered over the call button. A second later, the chat exploded. New cousins, older relatives, people who hadn't texted me since high school. The messages stacked fast enough to blur. Selfish, always jealous. Poor Linda. Monday came with fluorescent lights and a wrinkled white blouse that still smelled like the hotel iron. The elevator let me out on my floor like nothing had happened, and I walked to my desk with the same tote bag I'd carried on Friday. Emails waited. So did my phone, face down, buzzing in short bursts, the way it had in my kitchen. Before the computer finished logging in, messages started landing in my personal inbox. A cousin asked, "Your mom was sick and you still didn't postpone?" An uncle I barely knew wrote, "Family comes first, remember that." Someone sent a praying hands gif and nothing else, like that counted as a conversation. A friend from law school texted to check on me, then immediately followed with, "Why is your aunt tagging me in this?" I pulled up Facebook and found a vague post from Deborah about ungrateful children and mothers who give everything. She'd tagged the wrong Emma, one of my coworkers, then corrected it by tagging me and adding, "Not the one I meant, but you know who you are." At my desk phone, an unfamiliar number slipped through while I was reviewing a client file. I answered without thinking. "Law offices of..." A man cut in. "Is this Emma Stone?" "Yes, who is this?" A beat, like he was checking notes. "I got your name from someone who said you're connected to Stone Industrial. Are you aware your family may have financial issues?" The question was too specific to be random and too casual to be professional. "What is this about?" He chuckled once, not friendly. "Just making sure you're not surprised when people start asking." The call ended before I could demand anything useful. My hand stayed on the receiver for a second too long, then I set it down and opened my personal phone again. More relatives, more advice. Nobody asked what happened. They asked what I did. Marisol Vega walked past my cubicle, took one look at my screen full of notifications, and stopped like she'd hit a wall. "That your honeymoon?" "It's my extended family." She didn't smile. She hooked a finger toward the small conference room. "Come on." The door clicked shut behind us. Marisol leaned against the table, arms crossed, watching me scroll. "Don't fight this with feelings." "I'm not." "You will if you keep reading." She slid my phone back across the table like it was evidence. "Screenshot everything. Save the posts. Save the texts. Save the timestamps." "I'm not trying to win an argument." "Good," she said, "because you can't. In family stuff, the person who talks soft loses to the person who cries loud." She let that sit, then added, dry as sandpaper, "Congrats. You got married and picked up a second full-time job, defending your reputation." At lunch, instead of eating, I called Atrium Health's main line and asked for general appointment info. Nothing private, just enough to confirm whether my mother's story had a pulse. The woman on the phone offered to route me to scheduling. "I'm trying to verify the location for tomorrow," I said. "My mom said Atrium Health, but she wasn't sure which clinic." "Do you have her date of birth?" "I'm not asking for details," I said. "Just the right building." The pause on the other end told me what I needed. The answer came back polite and firm. Without that information, she couldn't confirm anything. Fair, but Linda had claimed they'd moved her appointment around. That only made sense if there was an appointment to move. Back upstairs, I walked over to our IT guy, Trevor, with my laptop and the same calm voice I used with clients. "I need to know if an email was deleted from my account remotely." Trevor raised his eyebrows. "That's a thing people ask when they're getting divorced." "I just got married." "Same energy," he muttered, then rolled his chair closer. He pulled up logs I didn't know existed and clicked through a trail of access times. His finger stopped on one line. "That delete wasn't from this device." "Can you tell from where?" He shook his head. "Not without a request from the right department. But it wasn't you, unless you've learned telekinesis." My phone rang again before I could respond. Linda's name filled the screen, neat and confident. "Hi, Mom." Her voice went fragile immediately. "Everyone is worried about me." I heard. A small sniff. "If you love me, don't make this a big thing." "I didn't start it." She ignored that. "Come by Thursday, 7 o'clock. We need to talk as a family." A beat, then the hook. "There are papers for the company I need you to sign. If you don't, I can't fix this." When I got to my car after work, her text sat there like a calendar entry. Thursday, 7 p.m., my house. I stared at it, then tapped over to my work email. An invite had just hit my schedule, and my phone lit up with another incoming call from a saved contact I didn't recognize until the caller ID finished loading. Collins, accounting. Collins didn't bother with small talk. "Emma? This is Collins. Can you meet me before you go to your mom's on Thursday?" "Where?" "Jubala Coffee, 15 minutes. He hung up like he'd already regretted calling. By the time my car rolled into the lot, he was parked in the far corner, sitting stiffly with both hands on the wheel. He nodded once, then followed me across the street without a word, keeping his eyes down like we were doing something illegal instead of buying caffeine. We ordered and took a small table near the window. Collins left his coffee untouched and pulled his phone from his pocket. The screen was already open to a photo album. He turned it toward me, thumb hovering like he might yank it back. "You didn't get this from me," he said. "I don't even know what this is yet," I said. "It's the thing you saw in your trash, the transfer email." He swiped. A signature block filled the screen, Linda Stone, dated and notarized. Below it was a line item, sale of shares. Under that, a schedule of disbursements in neat columns. Collins tapped the amounts with a shaky finger. "Your mom sold her stake. Not all of it, but enough." "For what?" came out flatter than I meant. He swiped again. More photos, this time of bank confirmations. Notes sat beside the payments. Venue deposit, catering installment, event package, floral. The dates started the week after my wedding. My fork froze in my mind at the word ballroom, and Collins didn't have to ask why. She's planning something, he said. She told me she couldn't afford a plane ticket. Yeah, he let out a single breath. That's why I called. This isn't normal accounting. Before leaving, he slid a napkin across the table with a name and a number. Trevor in your IT said someone else deleted that email, he said. It was forwarded first. I saw it hit the outbox log. Then it disappeared. Who forwarded it? He shook his head. I can't see the device. I can only see it wasn't you. On the walk back to our cars, my phone chimed with a photo message from my cousin Trish. It was a save-the-date card on someone's granite countertop. Kayla Stone and Brandon Hale celebrating their love at the Pinehurst Country Club. 6 months after my ceremony. The font alone probably cost more than my centerpieces. Before I could respond, the family group chat lit up again. Linda had posted the same card, then added, "We're all so excited for Kayla's fresh start." A beat later, "Everyone knows Emma doesn't support her sister, but I'm praying she finds it in her heart." Her private messages came right after, like she'd been waiting with her thumb over send. "I did this because Kayla needs a new beginning." You're a lawyer, Emma. You understand how important appearances are. Don't let anyone think you're jealous. That evening, instead of going home, the car aimed for the country club listed on the card. The guard at the gate checked my ID like I was trying to crash a celebrity event. In the lobby, a woman with a clipboard intercepted me. "Hi there, are you with the bride?" "Depends," I said. "Is she here?" She scanned a list. "Name?" "Emma Stone." Her eyes flicked up. "And you are?" "I'm the expense everyone's pretending doesn't exist," I said, and walked past her before she could decide if that was a joke. Kayla stood near a long table of sample plates, laughing with 2 aunts while a chef explained sauces. Linda was right beside her, looking healthy enough to host a marathon. When Kayla saw me, her smile tightened. "What are you doing here?" "Talking to Mom," I said. Linda's hand went to her chest on instinct. "Not now, Emma. Don't do this in public." "You sold your shares," I said, "for Kayla's wedding." Kayla's face flushed. Linda turned to the aunts. "See? Jealous. Always." My phone buzzed again, an automated email. "Ownership updated, access revoked." Another text followed from Linda. "See what happens when you make it a big thing?" The planner stepped between us and set a hand on my forearm like she was guiding a lost guest, not stopping a family fight. Linda turned her back and started tasting sauces again, already rewriting the scene for whoever would listen. Kayla didn't look at me. "Emma, we're in the middle of a vendor meeting," the planner said. "Please go." Her voice stayed polite, which somehow stung more. I walked out, past the guard, past the fountain, and sat in my car until my hands stopped shaking. Then I drove straight to work and pretended inbox mattered more than blood. On Tuesday, Stone Industrial held a routine shareholder meeting. I arrived early and found new nameplates on the table, including one for a man I'd never met. Collins avoided my eyes. The attorney for the company read a list of voting rights, and mine wasn't there. When I spoke up, he didn't argue. "Ms. Stone no longer has standing in this meeting," he said, like he was announcing lunch plans. A folder slid across to Linda, not to me. She didn't smile. She didn't have to. The screen showed a credit line, and everyone nodded as if it had existed. After the meeting, a manager pulled me aside near the break room. "We're freezing purchases," he said. "Vendors are calling. Payroll's fine for now, but accounts payable is behind." He said it the way people talk about weather, like it wasn't anyone's fault. A familiar supplier emailed me later, copying half the plant. "Payment overdue. Delivery on hold." Another message came from HR about cost alignment, which was the corporate phrase for cuts. In less than 24 hours, Linda's wedding decisions had turned into other people's paychecks. Collins texted, "She leveraged the shares." My stomach dropped and feet kept moving. I tried to pull the company's ownership file from the shared drive and got a red banner, "Access denied." When I asked the office admin for the physical binder, she glanced at the attorney, then at Linda. "We can't release that to you," she said. "Policy." Collins mouthed sorry from his seat. My phone buzzed with Linda's Thursday reminder, like she was scheduling a dental cleaning. 7 p.m., don't be late, she wrote. Under it, a PDF labeled Proxy Authorization waited. The attachment opened to a signature line with my name. I didn't sign, but now I knew what she wanted. Thursday night, Linda's living room was packed the way it had been when my grandparents died. Folding chairs, casseroles, and relatives holding opinions. Linda sat in her recliner with a throw blanket draped over her shoulders like a costume. I tried, she told them. I begged Emma to be kind. Deborah nodded like she was taking minutes. Kayla stood near the fireplace, arms crossed. Someone asked me why I couldn't just reschedule my wedding. Another cousin leaned forward and said, "If you're such a good lawyer, why can't you save your family?" Linda watched over the blanket, waiting for my reaction. Linda held up a stapled packet. "This is all I'm asking," she said. "One signature so I can stabilize the company." She slid it toward me across the coffee table. The header read, Proxy Authorization, same as the PDF. Under the fine print, it gave her my vote for the next transaction. "You want me to sign away my say," I said. Deborah snorted. "After everything your mother's done, you're counting receipts?" Linda's mouth tightened, then softened again. "See," she told the room, "this is what I deal with." I stood, left it untouched, and walked out as they talked. Marisol met me at the office Friday morning with coffee and no sympathy voice. "This isn't a family argument," she said, scrolling through the photos Collins had sent. "This is someone who knows right from wrong and is building a story to pin on you." And she told me to lock down my personal accounts, stop chasing Linda in public, and check conflicts before touching company matters again. That night, the car sat in Linda's driveway anyway. Kayla's message sat on my screen like a bouncer's hand on my chest. "Don't come to the wedding." The next morning, I showed up at the firm, smiled at reception, and did billable work, like my family wasn't trying to vote me out of my own last name. By 7, the hallway emptied. At 9, I was still there, feeding paper into the copier until the machine complained and spat out warm stacks of exhibits. Screenshots, the Pinehurst save the date, Collins's photos of Linda's signatures, the proxy form she'd tried to slide across her coffee table. I spread everything across a conference table and taped dates to the corners with blue sticky notes. The timeline looked clean. The behavior didn't. Every time a gap showed up, it wasn't because the story didn't make sense. It was because I'd been trained to leave gaps for her. Marisol came back from dinner with her hair in a messy clip and a coat over her arm. She stopped in the doorway. "You're still here." "Just organizing." She walked in, read one sticky note, then another, and pulled out a chair. "Organizing is fine. Just don't start pleading with people who already chose their version." A printer beeped in the next room. I slid a folder toward her. Inside was the email log Trevor had pulled, the one line that showed the deletion came from somewhere else. "That's not a glitch," Marisol said. "It's a hand." "Linda's?" "Maybe, or someone she borrowed." Marisol opened her laptop and typed a name into a new email. "You need a numbers person," she said. "Not a therapist, not a mediator, not a cousin with opinions. A numbers person." She turned the screen so I could see the signature. Thomas Reddy, CPA-EA. "He used to do returns for Stone Industrial," she said. "He's not family, so he won't care who cries. He'll care what's traceable. My mom says this is about Kayla's fresh start. Your mom says whatever keeps her hands clean." Marisol pulled a business card from her wallet and set it on the paper pile like a paperweight. "Call him tomorrow. Tell him you're looking for exposure, tax, lending, liens, all of it." The proxy document sat at the edge of the table. My signature line was blank, but the language above it was loud. I would be handing Linda my vote. The same woman who claimed she couldn't afford a hotel room had found the energy to draft paperwork. A stack of wedding invoices lay under the proxy, vendor names and amounts. Linda's text replayed in my head, "Keep your receipts," until it clicked into place beside Deborah's accusation about counting. Receipts weren't for budgeting. Receipts were for storytelling. The realization didn't come with tears. it came with a change in what got saved. Every message from the family chat went into a folder. Every screenshot got a file name with the date and time. I opened my cloud storage, then my external drive, then my work system, and made 3 copies, because 1 copy was how people lost things by accident. At 10:30, I drafted a formal records request for Stone Industrial, the kind that didn't argue or explain. It asked for meeting minutes, ownership changes, loan documents, and expense classifications. The request went to the company attorney, not my mother. Then another email went to Trevor, asking him to preserve the log data under normal retention, no special favors. Marisol watched, then nodded once. 30 days, she said. Give yourself 30 days to find out what she actually did. After that, you'll be reacting forever. I opened my calendar and blocked off a meeting with myself. Day 30. If the numbers didn't add up by then, I'd stop answering family calls entirely, for good. The building's lights dimmed to nighttime mode. My phone buzzed once. Linda, with a single line. Thursday is still on. I didn't answer. The cursor hovered over a new message to Thomas Reddy. Subject line first, because that was the part I could control. Urgent. Possible misuse of company funds, ownership transfer. At 12:01 a.m., I hit send, closed the laptop, grabbed my coat, and walked out to the empty parking deck. The parking deck still echoed under my shoes when my phone buzzed with an address and a time. Thomas Reddy didn't add pleasantries, just logistics and a request. Bring whatever you have, digital and paper, and don't bring your mother. His office sat above a strip of boring storefronts, the kind of place people visit when something is already broken. Thomas was in his 50s, button-down shirt, reading glasses on a chain. He didn't ask about feelings, weddings, or family. Show me the flow, he said. A folder opened. My wedding receipts went on one side. Collins's screenshots went on the other. Thomas scanned in silence, then turned his monitor so I could see a spreadsheet. These entries, he said, tapping a column, are coded as marketing and relationship events. That's not marketing, I said. Correct, he replied, but that's how it's being treated. He clicked deeper. A vendor payment labeled catering sat under an account used for client dinners. Floral expenses were categorized the same way. The venue deposit had a note, Partnership Outreach. Thomas didn't editorialize. He just pointed, like a doctor showing an X-ray. Someone is trying to legitimize personal spending through the company, he said, and potentially reduce taxable income while doing it. Kayla's wedding, I said. Not only, Thomas answered. These transfers line up with debt service. He pulled up another page, a credit facility, collateral listed as shares, a schedule that rolled payments forward like a treadmill. Your mother sold equity, he said, then used what was left as leverage. Borrowed against it, paid things, borrowed again. So she didn't throw money at a party, I said. She strapped it to the company. Thomas nodded once, satisfied I understood the shape of it. The keep your receipts message makes sense now, he added. Receipts aren't for budgeting, they're for narratives. My phone rang as I left his office. It was my firm's managing partner, asking me to sit in on a bank meeting that afternoon. The client was one of our regulars, and the subject line said, restructuring. I walked into the conference room and found a banker I recognized from Stone Industrial Paperwork, sitting with a neat folder and a practiced smile. He looked at my nameplate. Emma Stone, he said. Any relation? Different Stone, I said, and kept my face neutral. The meeting moved fast. Terms, covenants, timelines. When a credit line gets discussed in a room like that, it doesn't sound like disaster. It sounds like strategy. Hearing those same phrases applied to my family company made my skin go tight. Afterward, the partner pulled me aside by the hallway printer. You need to be careful, he said. If you're digging into your family's situation, you may have conflicts we can't ignore. Do not use firm resources for personal vendettas. It's not a vendetta, I said. It becomes one the second someone claims it is, he replied, then walked away. The claim arrived the next morning by certified mail at the firm. It wasn't from the company attorney. It was from a private lawyer representing Linda Stone. The letter was short and aggressive, like it had been waiting. It accused me of harassment. It accused me of accessing company records without authority. It demanded I stop contacting current and former employees. It warned of immediate action if I continued. Marisol read it without blinking, then slid it back. "She's fencing you off," she said. "Not because she's scared of you. Because she's scared of what you can document." I called Collins after lunch. He picked up on the third ring, but his voice had changed. The careful urgency from the coffee shop was gone. "Emma, I never said any of that," he blurted. "You called me," I said. "I was confused," he said. "I misunderstood what I saw. Please don't contact me again." "Did someone tell you to say this?" I asked. A long pause. "I can't lose my job," he said, and hung up. Trevor from IT emailed me that same afternoon. He'd preserved the deletion logs like I asked, but the forwarding trail led to an attachment that was no longer there. The message metadata existed. The file did not. Someone had erased the part that mattered most and left the footprint behind like a taunt. At home that night, a courier envelope waited against my door, thick and stiff, my name printed in block letters. I carried it to the kitchen table without taking my coat off. The paper inside was a loan notice tied to Stone Industrial, Linda's signature clean at the bottom, and a clause highlighted in yellow. Default triggers immediate remedies, including seizure and acceleration, without further consent from minority parties. My fingers stayed on the page as the words settled, and the envelope crinkled under my palm. That clause stayed on my kitchen table all night. By morning, Thomas Reddy had it in a folder, along with every screenshot, invoice, and proxy form Linda had tried to push under my nose. "We're not walking into another family ambush," he said. "We're walking into the record." He built a packet the way accountants do: neat, boring, lethal. A reconciliation chart showing the share sale deposits landing, then bleeding out into venue, catering, and event package payments. A second chart showing the same payments recoded in Stone Industrial's books as marketing and relationship development. A third page, stapled last, with the loan notice clause I couldn't unsee. Marisol arranged the meeting with the company attorney, not Linda. It was on the calendar as Ownership and Expense Review, which sounded like a seminar until you saw who RSVP'd. 2 minority shareholders, the corporate lawyer, Thomas, and, of course, my mother with her personal counsel. Linda walked in late, blanket-free and perfectly upright, carrying a tote bag like she'd just come from yoga. Her attorney, a man in a gray suit, pulled out a legal pad and set it down like a shield. "Emma," Linda said, "are you done embarrassing this family?" "Start the meeting," I told the company attorney. He did, reading the agenda into the minutes. No one interrupted that part. It's harder to hijack a room when someone is literally writing down what you say. Thomas slid our packet to the center of the table and waited for the attorney to nod. Then he pointed to page 1. "Here is the proceeds schedule from the share transfer," he said. "Here is where the money went." Linda leaned back. "It was my money," she said. "I gave Kayla a gift. I can do what I want." Her attorney nodded like that settled it. "Personal funds are not at issue," he said. "This is harassment dressed up as accounting." Thomas didn't argue. He turned one page. "These are the same transactions," he said. "Different ledger." He tapped a line with the tip of his pen. "Account 6113, marketing. Posted on May 14th. Approved by L. Stone." Linda's eyes jumped to the initials, then away. "That's a clerical choice," she said. "Fix it and move on." The company attorney cleared his throat. "It's not that simple," he said. "If expenses were improperly classified, we have reporting exposure." My mother's attorney turned to me. "You understand you're attacking your mother," he said. The words landed, waited for emotion, and got none. "No," I said. "I'm reading numbers." One of the minority shareholders, Mr. Patel, leaned forward. "Are there more entries like this?" he asked. Thomas nodded and flipped to a highlighted spreadsheet. "Multiple vendors," he said. "Floral, rentals, catering. All coded as business development." Linda lifted her chin. Stone Industrial hosts events, she said. You all know that. Thomas didn't look up. Not at Pinehurst Country Club, he said, and not with a bride's name on the invoice. He slid a copy of the Save the Date across the table next to a vendor bill. The room went still in the way it gets when people see something obvious they've been pretending not to see. The company attorney asked for the loan documents. Linda's attorney started to object, then stopped when Thomas laid the notice clause on top. Collateral includes equity shares, Thomas said. Default triggers acceleration without minority consent. Mr. Patel swore under his breath. Another shareholder rubbed his forehead. Linda exhaled, slow and shaky, practicing the role. You're going to destroy your own family business, she said. For what? Because I missed one wedding? The company attorney didn't answer her. He spoke to the table. We need to freeze discretionary spending immediately, he said, and we need counsel for potential tax exposure. Linda's attorney leaned in. My client will not consent to any restrictions, he said. The company attorney slid a printed notice across the table anyway. Formal letterhead, signature line, effective today. Chairs scraped back as people stood, gathering folders and phones. The assistant gathered minutes, stapled them, and dropped an envelope beside Linda's tote without a glance either. Thomas Reddy set an IRS notice on his desk between us, the red stamp loud on white paper. The balance wasn't a bill, it was a threat, with penalties stacked like rent. He tapped the header. Payroll tax, he said, and the lien clock is already ticking. He opened a ledger printout and circled vendor names I recognized from Kayla's planning emails. Next to them were account codes, marketing, client outreach, relationship dinners. In the margin, someone had typed, "Keep receipts." Thomas looked at me over his glasses. That's not bookkeeping, he said. That's cover. He didn't ask who deserved what anymore. My phone buzzed with news from people who'd spent a year calling me selfish. Kayla was divorcing again, and the Pinehurst photos had disappeared from social media like they'd never happened. Stone Industrial followed her. Vendors stopped shipping, the line of credit defaulted, and then the bankruptcy filing hit my inbox with a case number. That same week, a bank client asked my firm to pursue recovery on a guarantee tied to a manufacturing company in Gaston County. The collateral list looked familiar enough to make my throat tighten. Equity shares and Linda's home address. Marisol leaned over my chair. Conflict check, she said. She isn't my client, I said. That's still not an answer, Marisol replied. Compliance cleared me. I'd never represented Linda, and the bank wasn't shy about who it wanted on the file. The lender didn't care about my family tree. Linda called at 2:13 a.m. Emma, she said, they're coming after me for taxes. I need you. Please. 2 days later, she was in my lobby, sitting up straight with her purse clutched like a life vest. When I walked out, her face shifted into relief. Thank God, she said. You'll fix it. Linda, I can't represent you, I said. Her mouth tightened. You can represent strangers, but not your own mother? I can send you referrals, I said. I can't be your attorney. She leaned closer, voice low. Don't do this to me. After everything I did for you. Security drifted past and she stepped back, smoothing her cardigan as if control was a fabric you could press flat. A week later, I signed on as counsel for the bank. The paperwork called it a recovery action. The fieldwork was simpler. Serve notice, document assets, confirm occupancy. The address was Linda's. Cheryl, the bank rep, met me in the driveway with a clipboard. A deputy stood off to the side, hands on his belt, bored and professional. Linda opened the door before we knocked, already crying. This is my home, she said. You can't do this. Cheryl kept her voice steady. Ma'am, you were served. We're here to inventory. Linda's eyes locked on me. Of course it's you, she said. You always wanted to punish me. I'm here for the bank, I said. She planted herself in the doorway. You don't deserve to step into this house. It was the same sentence she'd used years earlier when she wanted me to feel small. My hand lifted the authorization packet. Today, I'm not coming in as your daughter, I said. I'm coming in as someone invited, on paper. Cheryl didn't look up. The deputy shifted his weight. Linda's shoulders dropped a fraction, and she stepped aside. We walked through the living room and kitchen, listing furniture, noting electronics, writing down serial numbers. The house felt less like a home and more like a set of props waiting for someone else's story. Linda followed a few feet behind, whispering at the deputy, at Cheryl, at the air. "No one is going to help me," she said. Nobody did. Kayla didn't show. Deborah didn't text. The cousins who'd called me jealous didn't appear in the driveway with casserole and prayers. By the door, Linda's spare key hung on its hook. It was the one she'd demanded back after our last blow-up, like access was a privilege she could revoke. I took it down, slid it into the bank envelope with the inventory, and sealed it. The envelope rode on the passenger seat as the engine started. My phone buzzed with Linda's name. One glance, one breath, then the screen went face down on the console while my hand shifted into drive.